Hello IT Pros and welcome back to my IT workshop. So in this video I'm going to show you how to install VirtualBox and then Kali Linux and from what websites to download the software that you need. So before we start, the computer I'm using right now is the one I use for most of my videos in this channel. If this is your first time here, the characteristics are I have an Intel i5, 4 cores and 16 gigs of RAM. So if you have 8 or even 4, there is no problem with that. I'm talking about RAM. And about the processor, most processors nowadays have at least 4. But if you have 2, it can work as well, but it's going to be a little slow. Okay. At the end of the video, I'm going to give you an extra option. If you don't have the requirement, you can do it online. Okay, but it has its drawbacks. Now, having said that, I'm going to show you around. So this is my PC. And I have, as you can see, 3 partitions. The first one is the C drive where Windows is installed. And this is a physical hard drive. D and E are another hard drive. So it's only one, but I have split it into 2 partitions, D and E. So in one of these partitions, I'm going to save the virtual machines. And on the C drive where Windows is installed, I'm going to install VirtualBox. All right. So now that I have showed you around, we're going to go to the first website. So this is where VirtualBox can be downloaded. Don't worry, I'm going to leave the link in the description below for all the websites that we're going to use in this video. And you can see here Windows host. You can download it. The version is 6.06. If you're watching this in the future, I'm 100% sure that you're going to have a higher version. Now, this version is around 170 megabytes, so you have to download it. As you can imagine, I already have it, so I don't have to go through that process. And then the next thing you need is Kali Linux itself. So we go to kali.org and we scroll down, and these are the different versions of Kali Linux that we have here. The one we're going to use is Kali Linux 64 bits. Well, a bit big, and it weighs 3.3 gigabytes, so it's a little big. And the reason I'm going to use that is because it's the complete one. You can use others. If you need the one for 32 bits, is here as well. For example, we can use Kali Linux Lite, which is smaller. I believe it's only the command prompt or the terminal, but I want to use the full version. All right, so I'm going to download it using HTTP, but you can also do it using torrent. Then the next thing we're going to do is 7-zip. If you don't have it, this is to decompress, well, compress files. Maybe on your computer you have WinRAR, so you technically don't need this. But if you don't have it, you can download it from here. So it's 1 megabyte, it's really, really small. So that's what you are going to need. Next, I already have Kali Linux, and it's not Kali Linux, VirtualBox here, and it's 166 megabytes. So I'm going to double click on it, and we're going to go through the process of installation. It's pretty straightforward. It's not something really wow about this. And you can see here it's going to be installed by default in the C drive. Oracle VirtualBox, because VirtualBox belongs to Oracle. Now here you can choose this. I'm going to leave it selected. I don't have any problem with this. And I go next. Warning, network interfaces. Yes, we need the network interfaces, obviously, to have access to the network and to the internet. So this process is, in some parts of this video, the video is sped up, as you can see here, so you don't have to go through the process of the real time of installation, like I did. Now, when it's done, you click finish, and here you have VirtualBox 6.0.6. So here is the Kali Linux image, ISO 3.25 gigabyte, which we downloaded from kali.org. So now I go to File, and I go to Machine and New. Here I'm going to name the machine. I'm going to name it Kali. You can name it anything that you want. And then I'm going to change the machine folder. It's not going to be in the C drive like I mentioned before. I'm going to click Other, and we're going to look for what drives I have. So I'm going to go to the local disk D, and here I'm going to create a new folder, which is going to be called VMs or virtual machines. So I'm going to select this folder, and I'm going to select type. It's not going to be a Windows because it's Linux. So we go there, Linux, and the version it's going to be Linux, but I don't see Kali Linux here.Maybe in the version you're going to be watching in the future, you're going to have it, but here I don't. So I scroll down and I choose other Linux 64 bits. Here is where I assigned the RAM for this virtual machine. So as you can see there, it says the recommended memory size is 512 megabytes, but I'm going to give it 2 gigabytes. Okay, but the minimum is half a gigabyte. Then we go next. And here we are going to, it's telling us that the recommended size for the hard drive is 8 gigabytes. And this is the minimum that you need. So I'm going to select create virtual hard disk now. No, that one. Yes, create a virtual hard disk now. Create. And I'm going to choose VDI because that's what VirtualBox uses. I go next, and here you have to select fixed size, because if you choose dynamic allocation, it's going to take more physical hard drive that you have as needed. So I don't want that. Now we are going to reserve the hard drive space, physical space. So I'm going to give it 20 gigabytes. Okay, don't forget the minimum is 8, but I'm going to give it 20 for the updates, and maybe we want to do things and all that. Then we click create, and after some time we're going to have this. So as you can see, Kali powered off. I'm going to right click on it. I'm going to go to settings, but I'm going to show you this later. Really, I don't have much to do here for the moment. So I'm going to close it. I'm going to go to the green arrow to start. So after a few more seconds, it's going to it's going to start the process. So it's telling me that this is empty, which is true. Now we are going to choose the Kali Linux image that we have downloaded. So we go here, we look for it. It's in the desktop, and we select it, Kali Linux 2019. So I selected 3.24 gigabytes and start. Now a few more seconds, and here we go. We are going to start the process of installing Kali Linux. As you can see, it's going to tell you this the first time. I never had this, like I mentioned, it shows this message the first time. So it's telling you when you click on the virtual machine, you are going to be with the mouse and keyboard on the virtual machine. If you click out of the virtual machine, you are going to be back on the host operating system, which in this case is Windows 10. Okay. So it says the host key is currently configured to right control. So that's what you have to press if you want to get out of Kali or the virtual machine. So here I'm using graphical install using the keyboard because the mouse is not working. And here you can close this. These messages are going to be shown from time to time. So you don't have to do anything here, just wait. And it's going to ask you what language do you want to use. Well, the video is in English, so I'm going to choose English, but you can choose any other language that you may like. You click continue, United States, and keyboard configuration is going to be United States as well. And this is the long part. It's going to be about 30 minutes in total, around 30 minutes, so grab a cup of coffee. Here is telling me that what name I want to give to my virtual machine. Well, to this, the name of this computer. So it doesn't allow me underscore, or any weird symbol. So I'm going to call it Kali VM. A domain name, I don't have it, I'm at home. So I'm going to click continue. And here I'm going to create a password for root. Root is the default user, is the super user. So I'm going to type a password, repeat it, and continue. So, like I mentioned, in some parts this is sped up. Here is, since I have chosen the United States, going to give me the time zones. You choose anyone that you might like. If you have chosen US, and the process continues. So here is telling me, what do you want to do? Do you want the guided use entire disk, or what do you want to do? So the best option is guided use entire disk. So we have assigned 20 gigabytes, so that's 21.6, and that's the one I want to use. So I want the operating system to use the entire disk. Okay, that doesn't mean that it's not going to have space for more things. It's going to use the entire disk. So you have seen the option that it was selected by default. And here it's giving me like a summary of what's going to happen. Primary 19.5 and logical 2.1. So finish partitioning and write changes to disk. Click continue. So another kind of summary that what's going to happen. And after I have read that, which is what's going to happen to the hard drives, to the disk, to the partitions, it is asking me write the changes to disk. And the option that we have to choose is yes, because no, it's not going to do anything. And we want to install Kali Linux. So I'm going to click yes. And then we're going to click continue. Then another installation process. Like I mentioned, this is going to take around 30 minutes, maybe more, maybe 20, maybe 45 or something like that. But it takes some time to do it, okay? Now I believe this is the, oh, no, it's not the last one. So here it's telling me we have a network mirror can be used. So this you have to select yes here, because this one allows you to download to update for Kali Linux. Since it is an operating system, it's needed. So I don't have a proxy, but if you have one, you can type it here. So we continue. It's configuring the apt, and we wait for it. And I believe this is the last. No, there is one more step. Installing grub bootloader. So it's telling us that from the perspective of Kali, this is the only operating system you have in this computer, which you know that is not true because we have Windows as the host operating system. But from the perspective of Kali, this is the only one. So I don't have any problem with that. We're going to click yes, and we're going to select the only option we have left, which is VirtualBox hard disk. So we select that one, and we're going to click continue. And I believe that's the last step, if I'm not mistaken. Then installation is complete, so it's time to boot into your new system. Okay, make sure to remove the installation media, and we are going to click continue. And it's going to start, finishing the installation, a few more seconds, and then it's going to close itself. And then you don't have to press anything, you don't have to click anything here. It's going to do it by itself. You can close these little windows, but you don't have to do anything with the virtual machine. So after a few seconds, here we are. So the user is root, and the password is the one you have configured a few minutes ago, or half an hour ago, actually. Now it's going to take a few more seconds, and there you go. Welcome to Kali Linux. So what I am more interested in is the terminal. So this is the terminal for Kali Linux. We are going to be using this a lot. And the next part, you don't have to do it. It's something I do because it's just my, excuse me, it's just what I like. I like to change the fonts. Not really the fonts, the color of the background and the letters. But I'm going to do it wrong the first time because I really didn't know how to do it. So you see me doing here, I'm trying to change it, but it's the same. So I'm going to close it, and I'm going to open it again. And this time I'm going to get it right. So I go to edit, preferences, and then I'm going to change the custom font. You can choose anything that you might like. I believe you can add more, but I never really tried. So, but I believe we have enough here. Then you can choose the size of the letters, how it looks, and anything that you're comfortable with, you can select it. So if we go to colors, we can choose the background and the text. But it's not working very well, as you can see. The background is kind of white. So I'm changing the color of the text, but it's not working. But I had to go to built-in schemes. So I have to go green on black. So as you can see, now it is the way I want it. So I'm going to issue a command, which is whoami, and it's going to return the user that we are logged in as, which is root. I'm going to type the command date, and it's going to give me the date. I recorded this video in May, as you can see here, but I am uploading it now to my channel. So I'm going to close this. You can make it bigger. You can even configure to fit the entire screen, but I don't really need the point of that. I don't like it, but you can do it. Here I'm showing you my processor. Like I mentioned, it's an i5. I have 4 cores and 16 gigs of RAM. So I'm just showing you around what I have on this computer. Okay, so you can add more resources to these virtual machines or to any virtual machine that you may have, but you cannot do it while the computer is on. So I'm going to shut down Kali Linux, like you are seeing here, and I'm going to go to settings. Then I go to system. Here I can change the RAM. I can change the boot order floppy. I don't know what that is selected. We don't have it. You can click it out. And here the processor, I'm going to give it 2 CPUs. Okay. The minimum for Kali, for most Kali system operating system, you need only 1. Okay, minimum 1. You can give it more, of course. Then I go to network. If you want this and you change it to bridge adapter. So this is for the virtual machine to have access to the network and to the internet. Okay, so you choose that option, and the name, that's the Realtek PCI, which is my physical network card. And if you go to advanced, you're going to see the MAC address that has been generated, but you don't need to do anything with this. So you don't even have to open it. Then you go to USB, you can select it or not. It really doesn't make a big of a difference. Then you go to display, then there is where you can change the resolution. So I go to storage. I don't have much to do here. Well, there are many things that you can do here, but you don't really need to do it for this video or for running Kali. So now I'm going to close it. If you cannot do all this because it's too overwhelming, like I mentioned at the beginning, maybe you don't have the hardware, maybe your computer is not doesn't have a lot of RAM, or it's a laptop and it only has 2 cores. So for that, I have this website which emulates Fedora Linux, which is another flavor of Linux, and where you can run the same commands. As you can see here, it doesn't have the graphical interface, but it has the terminal, so you can run the commands, make scripts and create scripts and all that, run scripts, and I believe I said script many times. But what's the drawback? That when you close that tab, that web browser, you are going to lose everything. So but you can practice. That's the first place actually I started to practice when I wanted to learn Linux, because I didn't want to install everything. So it was like, this is too much of a problem. I better do it the easy way first. And if I like it, I'm going to try the virtual machine. Okay, so that's what I wanted to show you today, guys, how to install VirtualBox, Kali Linux, the software that you need, and the options, and another option to run commands or to learn the Linux terminal. Okay, so if you like this video, please leave a like. If you have any other comment or question, leave it in the comment section below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. So thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video.